Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by my two favorite Wednesday Show hosts ever, Terry DeMantis.
Hello.
And Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm okay, except my icons are fucked again, and I'm angry, but I'm not going to let it bother me for tonight. I'll get it straight. It's just a little change I made to my monitors and screwed everything, so I'm an idiot. How you doing, Terry?
I'm all right. I'm amused at the slightly off-center icon.
I'm glad it makes you happy. It's driving me crazy, and it's only been 5 seconds. Let me go ahead and go through the topics for tonight, and then we'll say hello to everybody in chat. First topic is tractored. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this, but the Spanish farmers just outside of Madrid have been a little angry with the government putting restrictions on their ability to make money. So they're doing the Canadian convoy thing, getting all their tractors down the highways and blocking all the traffic and pissing everybody off, and it's glorious, just like it was in Canada. Second is droned. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we killed somebody. Yeah, we could probably talk about that. Abu Bakr el-Saadi, a Hezbollah commander. But we'll get into that in a little bit. And then finally, Nikki Haley. What an embarrassment. Yeah. Loses to nobody. So that should be interesting to get into. Why don't we go ahead and say hello to everybody in chat. Jen, you want to start us off?
All right. Well, on the YouTube, we always start off with the hammer because he beat out Lisa. But we got ourselves a Lisa, and we got ourselves a rotten corpse and a tall person, and we got ourselves a Terry. And then we got ourselves a JV. And hello. Hello.
Terry?
Okay, so we've got Corsten, we've got Cannibalistic Wizard, Tall Person, and I think that might be it. I think that's everyone.
Well, people usually join us as the night goes along anyway. Do you guys have anything else you want to chat about, or do you want to get into our topics for tonight?
I want to laugh at Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn embarrassing. And she's going to get slaughtered tomorrow in Nevada anyway, because she didn't do anything there. She didn't visit. She didn't do any campaigning, nothing. So, Trump's going to walk over and just slap everybody really hard, and it's going to be hilarious, and I can't wait for it. What is she going to do? What is she going to do? She didn't spend any time there. Trump is beating her everywhere handily. He spent time in Nevada. So, I mean, it's how many times do you have to lose? And remember that what happened today wasn't the caucuses that are going to happen tomorrow. The caucuses tomorrow are actually going to have, and I'm no expert in the American government structure, but as I understand this, the actual caucuses are going to take place tomorrow. Then you're going to actually see numbers.
Yeah.
But as of tonight, the potential voting was between her, Pence, and anybody else, and she lost to anybody else.
I would vote. I mean, just for me, I would be voting for none of the above.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Nobody else was none of the above. And she lost like 63% against. She got like 30% against nobody. Oh my God! And I'm not even sure when I'm not even sure when we're going to get to her state. That's going to be even worse because it's her state, and she's going to lose her own state. She's going to lose.
That's always embarrassing.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's this moment where I really wish that in the other category you really could insert Harambe and just get on mad.
Yeah.
I know it's a dead meme, but that's why it's so funny. It's such a dead meme. That's why it's so funny.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's funny still. Just vote for Harambe. It's kind of like the people who put Jedi as their religion on the census to try and get it officially recognized as a religion by the country.
I can imagine that if some of these other people who haven't dropped out were still in the race, that they would beat her too. I have a very clear impression that DeSantis would beat her in Nevada. He'll lose to Trump, but she would just go from second to third.
Right. You know what would be funny?
What's that?
If someone submitted a glass of water as an actual candidate that people could vote for, just to see how many people vote for it.
That would be hilarious. I lost to a glass of water.
And like you even bring it to the debate. You have a chair set aside, a glass of water just sitting on
it on a podium, put a microphone in front of it.
Yeah. And it obviously it's not going to say anything. It's just going to be silent, but it'll still do better than a lot of candidates.
It'll still impress people more than Biden does.
Exactly.
Oh Lord, that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's very upset about it. So
I would vote for the glass of water just for the meme of it.
Well, I mean, she is dumber than a glass of water anyway.
Yeah.
So
but it's like no politicians that I would vote for in Australia, except for Pauline Hanson, who runs what used to be referred to as like the racist party, which is why I like them. It's called One Nation, and it's basically just anti-immigration is like her main thing.
Yeah.
But it's just like a generally conservative woman named Pauline Hanson runs the party, and no, I mean, she seems all right. She seems like she's legitimately interested in the well-being of Australia. About the only politician I can say that about. So I vote for her when I can. If One Nation isn't an option in the ballot, then I just void my ballot. So I'm not voting for anyone.
But is immigration really a problem in Australia?
Not as bad as it is in America, obviously, but I think she's just concerned that we're letting too many in. You know, like it's obviously a lot harder to break into Australia than it is.
People can't walk across the border.
There's no land borders. There's like you got to be a pretty good swimmer to swim from another country to Australia. But typically it's like boats coming in from Asia, and then like they throw their passports overboard, so we don't know where to send them back to. So we have to send them to holding facilities in not Australia, but islands around, like close to Australia. They get sent to like facilities there, and yeah, I think she's just concerned that too many are getting in, and she just wants to keep Australia Australian, which I approve.
Yeah. Well, I think you should use the same policy that you use on Sentinel Island. You know what Sentinel Island is, right? That's close to you, isn't it?
Which one?
Sentinel Island.
I don't know it, no.
Sentinel Island is an island that's never been colonized or visited en masse by any culture. It is as it was for all of history. So they've generally never seen a white person. They don't speak English. They're not exposed to the West. They have no clue about any of us. They live in an Aboriginal lifestyle there. And if you go to Sentinel Island, they'll just immediately kill you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them.
It doesn't seem to matter whether you're black or white. If you're not one of them, they just get all the spears and they just kill you immediately. As soon as they see you on their beach, they come running out and just kill you.
No, it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for a civilization like that to be very insular and like suspicious of anyone they don't recognize.
Right. Well, they're more than suspicious. They're murderous.
Yeah, but like suspicious in the sense of what the fuck are you doing in my
Right.
place.
So I
Right.
think I remember a documentary on that place, and the reason they're like that is because when they first initially made contact with them, they got sick from the contact, and the tribe took that as like, yeah, they blamed the white people for it. They were like, you came in, and all of a sudden, a bunch of us got really sick. So they saw us as demons, basically.
Yeah.
You come on
Yeah,
our
that makes
island,
sense.
they're like, no, you can go fuck yourself. You ain't making us sick, you white demon trash. It's kind of funny, actually. Not really.
So I
Yeah,
looked
I
at,
think I think Pauline's got the right idea. I'm happy to vote for it. But anyone else, I will like put a line through the boxes so that like they can't just fill it in for me, because like I'm concerned that if I were to put a blank piece of paper in the ballot, they say, "Oh, what he meant to vote for," and do it and fill it in that way. So I make sure I take a pen, because normally you have to fill them out in pencil, which I think is dodgy enough. So I'll bring a pen. I'll put a pen mark through all the boxes so that they can't fill it in for me.
yeah. I'm just reading up. It's actually called North Sentinel Island. Just
Okay.
reading up on it. And
It's,
I thought it had something
yeah.
to do with Australia, but apparently it doesn't. So I was wrong there. But
I
it
was
is it's only
I was
7
horrified.
7 kilometers wide.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, but
tiny.
I was horrified when I went to vote for the first time, and they gave me a pencil to vote with. I'm like, oh my god, this is not secure. Like they don't ask for ID. They don't ask. I could say, yes, my name is Ranting Monkey, and I go like, okay, you're not on the register, so you can't vote. They're like, if I picked someone who existed, I could do. I could pretend to be my cousin. Okay, like, yeah, I'm this guy. And like, well, your name's on the list. Mark me off, and then he doesn't get to vote. Like there's no security. They have you vote in pencil. The whole thing is atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Yeah.
That's beyond sketchy.
I just got my my documentation to vote remotely. So they sent me a document. And the great thing is it was sent specifically to me. It wasn't sent to someone at my address.
Right.
It was sent specifically to me. This is for Hammer.
Yes.
I mean, straight up. So, and I got 1. I didn't get 5. I didn't get any from any other state that I've lived in. I just got this one just for me.
That's the start. That's
So,
an improvement.
And they want, as far as the check marks are concerned, it has to be completely blacked in. They don't care whether you use a pen or a pencil or whatever, but it has to be completely blacked in. So if you just do a check mark, that's not good enough.
Right.
So you have to fill in the entire box. So
yeah,
I just put that in the mail yesterday.
I think what they do is the same thing they use to grade like school tests, where they just have a machine and like you have to use like a 2B pencil for it to detect it properly.
Yeah.
So that's why they have you vote in pencil. But dude, that is so not secure. It only takes one corrupt official like, what he meant to vote for was
what he meant to say.
Yeah. What's stopping them? There's literally nothing stopping them from. Oh no! He did it wrong. I'll just rub this out with my my eraser. I'll fill it in properly for him.
Yeah, they kind of just want you to vote on faith. That doesn't seem like a very logical way of doing things, in my opinion.
Especially, I don't trust the government, so I don't trust them to run fair elections.
Something that I didn't put on the suggested topics that we probably could talk about is when you talk about trusting the government, Tucker Carlson going over and talking to Putin.
Oh yeah.
The absolute meltdown over that has been fascinating.
It's been glorious. It's been very entertaining. All the big Democratic pundits are all just losing their mind, and I'm enjoying every moment of it.
And here's the thing, they're acting as though nobody has ever given that guy an interview in the first place. It's been done.
Many times. There's like 4 or 5 times he's been interviewed by American journalists.
But they're afraid because it's Tucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Tucker's not going to toe the company line, and they're afraid of what Tucker's going to turn out to. See, everyone else who interviews with Putin, and it hasn't been that many, but it has been a few. Most of them are not Western. Most of them are Russians or Ukrainian. There not very many people from the United States have interviewed him.
Well, I saw a list of I think there was like 4 or 5
Yeah.
Americans who've interviewed him.
Right. But
Like
the people
Barbara
who
Walters
did,
and-
right, exactly my point. People who did the interview with him were big media.
yeah,
So they're going to say whatever they want people to know from that interview. They're going to ask him questions that are set up so that it fits the narrative for big media. But Tucker's not going to do that. That's why they're all scared of him.
Oh yeah. They're scared of anyone they can't control.
So
I'm glad for him that he's had so many good interviews lately. Like they really are mad at him because of that too. Like he is absolutely pissed off the Canadian government based off of the tour he did up here, which we enjoyed.
Anyone who pisses Trudeau off automatically gets my support.
But it's shining a light on a bunch of topics that everybody knows it needs to be discussed. Because
they're just scared. They're just scared because they can't control him.
Yep.
So they don't know what he's going to say, what he's going to do, and they want control. They want to be able to get the American people, Canadian people, Australian people, everybody in the West to know what they want them to know. And Tucker is not that person. So that scares them. So they'll yell and scream and jump up and down on Twitter, and people like me will just laugh at them because they're very transparent about what's going on. You know, if you're he's a traitor and he's a puppet and blah, 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 and using all of these dramatic phrases to try to describe how he's such a bad person.
Yeah.
You know that they're scared, or else they wouldn't be using all of that rhetoric.
Exactly.
So,
Rotten Corpse is saying his Tate interview was a little soft. I heard people I didn't watch the interview, but I heard people say that he did go fairly easy on Tate.
I think so too.
I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's his interview. He can ask whatever questions he wants. I think if a more antagonistic interviewer was able to secure an interview with him, then they could ask, the harder questions. But, it's Tucker's interview. He asked the questions he wanted answers to. And that's basically it. It's like his show. He can run it how he likes.
The same people are they fit into the same mold, is that he's going to ask them what he wants, and they don't like that. They want the control. Yeah. It's still the same problem, but it's not the panic you see with big media. It's I'm against the red pill, so you have to yell at this guy because I want control. Yeah. I want you to yell. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be panicked because they're not afraid of what Tate's going to say. They already know what Tate's going to say.
Yeah,
but
he's not shy about. He's not going to say anything that he hasn't said a million times on Twitter before.
Yeah. So, but it's just about everything when it comes to being a journalist and doing interviews. It's all about control. Whether it's big media trying to control what you hear, or people trying to control what's being asked, or people trying to control even the process of doing an interview at all. They don't even want them to talk to the guy.
That's true.
It's all people who are scared that their narrative could be challenged.
My basic thing is, like, if you're not happy with the questions that Tucker asked, then get your own interview, or get someone else to interview him that you think would ask better questions. He's got the right to say no to interview requests, but it's like Tucker's interview. He can ask whatever the hell he wants. He can ask, "How was your day?" Good. Okay. Good interview. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
If that's what he wants to do on his show, it's his show.
The thing that really sells it for me is that other journalists are angry.
Oh yeah.
That's what really sells it for me, because I watched Philly D, which I don't really consider a journalist, but he does provide news. He was deeply against it. He didn't want Tucker asking questions. He started calling Tucker all kinds of crazy stuff on his show too. And it's like, dude, you're kind of a news guy yourself. Why are you so upset that he's being a news guy? It's what you do.
I think part of it is jealousy. Like, let's be real. Like, a lot of those journalists wouldn't be able to get those interviews anymore. And a lot of that has to do with the Russia affiliates themselves. Like, they're well aware of the cut and paste shit that they do. It's easier because I think a lot of his interviews are done in Russian. Like, you need to have a translator for some of that. Not because he can't speak English. He just doesn't. Like, Putin's his own guy. You know, so I could see him being like, yeah, I don't want to be interviewed by you guys. You guys lie anyway. You know, regardless of what he says, they're going to lie.
Yeah.
So I think it's jealousy too. Like,
I think Avi Yemeni had the right idea when he was interviewed by, what's his face, the comedian, Australian guy, Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, Jim Jeffries.
When he actually recorded it from his own perspective.
From his own cell phone.
Yeah, and so when Jim Jeffries lied about Avi Yemeni, he's just like, look, I recorded the interview. I'm just going to play the unedited footage. You can see that Jim Jeffries lied about me.
Yep. A lot of people came down on Jim Jeffries pretty hard about that too.
Rightly so.
Like, people were like boycotting his shows and stuff like that. So it hit him in the pocketbook, and it should have. I don't like him anymore.
No, I think it should have completely destroyed his credibility with most of his audience. I don't think it did. I think there's still going to be people who are already left-leaning are probably going to be like, fuck Avi Yemeni. Good on you for showing him in that light. Even if that's not technically what he said, you know what he meant, and you showed us the real truth behind his words.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people delusional like that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was kind of a funny guy, but maybe he should stick to comedy and not do interviews.
It's the shut up and dribble. Like, some journalist said that about some basketball player. I think the same applies to most celebrities. You know, shut up and tell jokes. Like, we don't need your political opinions. Like, you're not someone that I would turn to for political opinions, Mr. Jeffries.
Yeah.
In the same way that I wouldn't ask Lindsey Graham for basketball tips. It's like I don't want to hear basketball players' views on politics. I don't want to hear politicians' views on basketball.
Well, I can ask Ben Shapiro about rap music now.
You can. He's a
world famous rapper.
And Matt Walsh about being a children's author. He's
Speaking of comedians, have you heard that Shane Gillis bit he does about Trump?
Probably, but what is it?
Shane Gillis is a recent comedian, just came on the scene maybe, I don't know, a month ago. But his Trump impression is like amazingly good. And he does this thing about how Trump informed everybody that they killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. And he does this whole routine on it. Man, if you close your eyes and you listen to it, it sounds like it's so close to him that it sounds like him. It's hard to tell that it's not him.
That's impressive. It's
that good of a... I'm surprised you haven't heard it because it's been all over Twitter. Jen, have you heard it?
No.
I should track it down on Twitter and convert it to VLC and play it for you. But it's so good. I can't do Trump at all, so I'm not going to even try.
No, I can't either.
But it's just amazingly good. I don't know if anybody in chat's heard it. People who are on Twitter on a regular basis probably have heard it. I'm surprised you guys haven't heard it, but I was listening to it earlier today and I was like, this is so good. Best Trump, but by far the best Trump I've ever heard in my life.
And over on Rumble, Tall Person says Philly D still a thing. I mean, I've not heard of him much in a long time. He's kind of fallen off my radar completely.
I still watch him because he does provide news coverage. And if he says something on his show that I identify with, I'll bring it into our show.
Yeah. It's like I watch Aber Preach, and like when they cover stuff, it's like, okay, I can see like, okay, Hammer's probably going to want to talk about this on the show.
True. Yeah, let me see if I can. I'm going to try to nail down. I can't just play a video from YouTube on the show and have the audio come through. You guys will be able to hear it, but the people watching the show can't, or vice versa. I forget how it works. But I can download that video into a file and then play it with VLC and everybody hears it. So
Okay, cool.
I'm going to try to do that while we're talking, but
Sorry,
yeah,
I heard what Cannibalistic said. Feely D's nuts.
these nuts.
And Tia wants to know where Ja Rule is because he needs to. He needs him to help him make sense of all this shit. I'm assuming Ja Rule is a famous rapper by the name of it, but I don't actually know who that is. It sounds like a rapper name, so I'm going to assume that it's a rapper, but I don't actually know.
All right, I found it. Now all I have to do is download it. I'm afraid to play it.
It would be so funny if this is just an actual recording of Trump, and like you're just pranking all of us.
Well, he's on stage with the microphones. I'm pretty sure that this is legitimate, but
No, I mean, like, you're just going to play a recording of Trump and say, see, doesn't he sound identical?
just like him. All right, so YouTube to MP3 converter, blah, 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 blah. See if I can get it to play for you guys. Well, it only takes a second to convert, so. Now this is like 5 minutes, but I don't know if I can edit it down till it's less than that, but I might fast forward a little bit to get to something reasonable. So here it is. This is Shane Gillis doing a
All you have to do is like get his cadence down. It's very easy. All you have to do is like describe something and then say you described it that way. That's it. It's every time. Like, what a big room this is. I walked in here and I said, wow, what a big room. That's it. Every time. Austin. A lot of homeless. I walked in here and I said, wow, that's a lot of homeless. You guys got a lot of homeless. You got to. What are you guys doing about
through this a little bit?
Funny. I said funniest. Be doing like a rally. I will say I did chat.
This may not be the one I was looking for.
He's not hurting anybody. And then my sister does heroin.
Yeah, that's not the right audio. The one that he does, it's so good. It's much shorter,
Okay.
and it's about the night that Trump came out and told everybody that Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was dead. And he talks about how he came down the hallway and walked up to the microphone and says, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He died like a dog. You know, I can't do Trump, but
Right.
but it was but his impression of how that whole, and he said, what I'm saying to you is not what I'm making up. This is what Trump actually said. He repeated the words that Trump used that night, and people were just dying in the comedy club. So
Yeah. Trump's
Probably
a comedian. He just doesn't realize it.
yeah, I probably should have prepped this for the show, but I didn't think about it.
It doesn't matter.
But it was hilarious. I'll find the right one, the link, and I'll throw it to you guys here in a minute, so you can listen to it offline. But it's a pretty good imitation. It's hard. There's a lot of people who've tried to do imitations of Trump, and some of them are okay, but this is by far much better than.
It's such a unique voice and like way of speaking that it's very hard to impersonate it correctly.
Yeah.
It's with what I was saying, you're not actually going to play the clip. You're just going to play like Trump actually talking and say see. Reminded me of the website Snopes, how they like fact check things.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things they did for some reason was they had fake fact checks that that they just made up. Like, but they admitted that they made it up. It was just like, I guess, their attempt at comedy. But one of them was that Mr. Ed was played by a zebra. It only looked like a horse because it was black and white TV. And like, obviously that makes no sense. But so what they did was they had a picture of a zebra. Then they said, this is the same picture as shown in black and white. And then they showed a picture of Mr. Ed. And like, it's obviously not the same picture. But it's just funny. Like, that's how like blatant they were about this is like lying just to make this joke.
I think I found the shorter one, the one I've been looking for, but it's only a minute.
Cool.
There's something going on with my browser, though. I think I have to reset Chrome because sometimes it just acts like I'm on a 386 PC anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Trump gave what I think was probably one of the greatest speeches.
I don't use Chrome anymore. Brave has shown me the way.
Well, I have my browser split up to do different things for the show. Like I have Brave takes care of the YouTube stream, Firefox takes care of the Rumble stream, and then Chrome takes care of the StreamYards with us.
Do you have Opera running just for the sake of it, just to round out the collection?
I do use Edge from time to time when I need a fourth browser to do something.
But not Opera?
I have a problem with Opera, and it's not technical. It's the company itself. Okay. Because back in the day when you could pick any browser and use any browser and it wasn't a big deal, Opera was the only browser that made you pay.
Jesus.
You had to buy it.
Pay for a browser.
Right. They thought that they were so good that you would be willing to pay. And that lasted for like a year, and then they went back to a non-paying model. And I just didn't like that. I didn't like that they did that. So I don't use them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I have no allegiance to Opera. It's just, you mentioned every other browser, so I thought I'd throw one more into the mix.
I put links in Rumble and in YouTube for you guys to watch the actual Shane Gillis performance. It's only 59 seconds. So,
and then everyone's going to click on it, and it's going to be a Rickroll, and everyone's going to hammer.
Boom. No, I would never do that. Actually, I would do that, but I didn't. So yeah, we covered Tractored, and we covered Nikki, and I talked briefly about.
Yeah, I was going to say we talked about Trump talking about the drone.
Yeah.
Well, technically, we talked about Shane Gillis talking about Trump talking about the drone.
Yeah. Well, the deal here is, well, that was Trump was talking about El Baghdadi. This is a different guy. This is Abu Bakr Saadi. Saadi. He's the leader. He was one of the leaders of Hezbollah. They killed him. So if you remember Tower 20, I think it was Tower 22 in Lebanon. They killed 3 of our service people, American service people, just like a week ago. And I know this is retaliation.
People, I don't know like specific.
Yeah.
Doesn't really, like, I'm not American, so it's like much less important to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm aware that Americans have been killed in these conflicts.
Well, Hezbollah is harassing people going through the Red Sea. This is a conduit for moving
we
perishables.
The American Indian Sea. Red is actually nowadays.
So yeah, so they've been attacking all of the transports and all that going through the Red Sea, and America's deployed a couple of cruisers out there to try to protect them, and they fired on one of them, and then they shot. I think I understand they used a drone to attack this Tower 22. I think it was Tower 22, and they killed 3 people there: a guy and two guys and a girl in this tower.
Yeah.
And so they So America did what America does. America says, "Oh, you should have done that. That was a bad thing," and we're gonna probably. Oh, you're all dead. Good.
Yeah.
That's how that works. So
Yeah. You don't attack America. That's not a smart thing.
well, the response from America always seems kind of funny to me, except for the politicians. But the Americans kind of like, "Oh, you did that, huh? Oh, okay. Well, maybe we should." Oh, you're all dead.
Yeah.
They play this kind of game where they give the enemy the idea that we're considering what our next move is going to be. And what they don't realize is we've already considered that. We had it ready at the time. We just decide when we're going to actually do it. And then we do it, and they're like stunned, like, what? What? I thought you were considering. No, you're all dead. We've gotten past that a long time ago.
You just reminded me of a stand-up comedian. I don't know what his name is, unfortunately, but he's an American guy, and he's talking about Americans bombing their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, "Why don't you come down here and fight like a man?" He's like, "We don't have to. Catch." and he minds throwing a bomb at them.
Pretty funny. I got into kind of an argument on Twitter about this too. Somebody mentioned that wide. Excuse me.
Oh, you're all right.
Yeah. Got a tickle. Somebody mentioned on Twitter that why is it that people on Twitter automatically assume that you're talking to Americans?
Well, because most of the people on the site are American.
And I sent back 93.6 million people. It's an American company.
Yeah.
And 96.3 million people on the platform are American, and the other 30 million on the platform are Japanese. Most people are one or the other. They're either from Japan or from the United States. We're the ones who use it the most. So you got to assume that the most people using it. Yeah, it's just, that kind of thing. And they were like, "Oh, you Americans think you're so important." And I said, "Well, we are." And they blocked me.
Okay. No, I mean,
I was just joking, But
of course you were, like, obviously, but no, I mean, I've had people assume I'm American because I was talking about American politics, and it's like, why would an Australian be talking about American politics? They just assume that if you're interested, you are American. So it's like, because it's like, the whole "not my president" thing.
Yeah.
I was like,
you can get away with that.
Donald Trump is not my president. And then I got some angry person going, "Yes, he is. I promise you he's not."
That's like Jen saying that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Biden's not my president. Be like, no, you don't understand. Trudeau. Well, technically, I guess Jen would probably say Trudeau's not her president either. Right,
Even
Jen?
I'm not doing that. Like I'll be like, yeah, I can't wait for the day that he gets voted out or at least arrested for,
Or at least arrested.
See,
at least arrest the guy.
Several times for the list of rap sheet that he's got. He should have been several times.
That's a great line. When he gets out of
the Australian Prime Minister changes so often that, like, if you don't like the current one, just wait 6 months. There'll be another one.
That's where me and Jen are at a disadvantage because our leaders are in there for a longer period of time and they can do a lot more damage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the same party that's in power. So, like, there was one time, I forget what years it was, but we went through like 4 prime ministers in 6 months because the party that was in power had so much internal conflict that, like, they kept ousting the current prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we ended up going like through 4 of them in like 6 months because there was like so much conflict. Because we don't vote for a person, we vote for a party. So we say we want the Labour Party to be in charge. They decide who in the Labour Party will be the Prime Minister. And so they can change their mind. And, it's not uncommon for them to be like, yeah, we don't like this guy anymore. Get someone new up there.
Well, they seem to be doing that with Americans as far as who runs the House and who runs the Senate, because McCarthy was in and McCarthy is out, and now the GOP, the girl who is in charge of the GOP funding she's out, and they're going to put McCarthy in with her, and we have some of that same churn as well.
I think you need Mr. Afuera to.
Yes, we do need
to handle
Malay. Music poll is up. The options for today are Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop, the Eurythmics Thorn in My Side SR71's Right Now, and Pat Benatar's We Belong. I would like to have put this on Rumble, but
We can't.
I can't. You're right. I can't. So we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get tied with tonight.
And
It'll be a tie.
Cannibalistic Wizard says in Aussie land they just wait for their leader to go near water. I mean that's an obscure reference.
That's pretty funny.
About it, but,
That's pretty funny. Yep, that happens.
We did have one drown. That's true.
He just walked into the ocean, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't know the full details, but yeah, that was just what happened there.
Guess nobody knows really what happened, right? He just suicidal, just decided he was just gonna.
I don't know.
End it all.
I know that it happened. I don't really know details.
All right, we got 13 listening and 3 votes. Come on, guys, get off your asses. Make a decision.
So Harold Holt, that's his name. Harold Holt.
Now we got 4 votes. Thanks for listening.
See, my screen, it only says 1, which is mine, because it doesn't update in real time for me.
Oh.
So if I refresh the page, I'm trying to show the correct.
Well, if I look at the YouTube chat for Hammer, it doesn't update at all for me. It just says how many votes, but it doesn't update unless I go and I manually refresh it. But the one that does refresh is the YouTube chat for Minions of the Zoo, which is on another screen. That one updates as it happens. So.
Oh yeah. So the poll is working. Sorry, I got mixed up. I thought you were talking about the likes on the stream.
Mm.
But no, the poll is showing that 33% for Fleetwood Mac, 50% for Eurythmics, 17% for Pat Benatar, and 0 for SR71.
Okay, so it looks like the Eurythmics is in the lead. Anyway.
Cannibalistic Wizard is saying there's theories he defected to the USSR, but there's no proof. Speaking of the drowned Prime Minister, Harold Holt.
Really? Why would you defect to the USSR? Well, the USSR doesn't exist anymore, right? He defected to Russia. Or one of the other country states, Crimea or whatever.
I'm looking at Wikipedia. I wonder if it's what it says about him disappearing.
If you're going to kill yourself, I think drowning's got to be one of the worst ways to go.
Yeah.
That's
okay. So they're saying he got caught in a rip and eventually disappeared from view. So he was swimming in the ocean, got caught in a rip, and got dragged out.
Oh, so it was an accident.
Seems to be. According to Wikipedia, anyway.
Is that one of those things where everybody somehow heard the wrong thing? Because I think everybody thinks he did it on purpose. He suicided or self-deleted, however you want to say it for YouTube. But I don't really care about YouTube's policies.
Yeah. It says here, Stewart kept close to shore, but Holt swam out into deeper water and was seemingly caught in a rip, eventually disappearing from view. One of the witnesses, Marjorie Gillespie, described it as like a leaf being taken out, so quick and final. So it sounds like, based on this description, it was an accident. He was swimming and got caught in an undercurrent and just straight out into the middle of the ocean.
Hey, Green Badger. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
How would it be better? Would he be indoors or outdoors?
What do you mean? Yeah, I mean, everybody I know thinks he self-deleted. So that's interesting to hear that Wikipedia is saying, no, it was just a oopsie.
But the body was never found. So that's part of the mystery.
Yeah.
See, some have alleged that Holt committed suicide. but those close to him rejected this as uncharacteristic of his personality.
Oh, it's like-
Conspiracy theories have included suggestions that Holt faked his own death, was assassinated by the CIA, or was collected by a submarine so that he could defect to China.
China. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know what happened, really.
Why do you have to do any of that? Why does it have to be so complicated? If he wants to go to China, he puts China on his passport, goes over there and says, "Oh, I think I'll stay."
Yeah.
Why would you get a submarine? Why would that be necessary?
Well, to make it look well, I mean, I think that would be the same as faking his death. He faked his death by drowning, but he actually had a submarine that he was like going inside. I think that's the conspiracy theory, what they're getting at.
You know, I have a tendency to believe a lot of conspiracy theories because a lot of them turn out to be true. But you got to wonder about some of those. There's some of them that are just way out there like that.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's distinct levels of believability when it comes to conspiracies. Like, you want to tell me that the government is doing something corrupt? I'll probably believe you. You want to tell me that some guy faked his own death so he could be taken by submarine to China? I'm gonna be like, okay, but why though?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people in China who are. I mean, how are you going to tell? How are you going to tell?
But also, like, it'd only take one person in China to
say something
about it.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he defected to China by way of secret submarine.
It's not a submarine. What do submarines cost to travel all the way to Australia and back for some guy who's not particularly that important anyway? Who's winning in that? Who's winning in that? You know.
Well, I mean, if he's defecting to China, then he's winning because he's probably getting paid. But like it doesn't make sense. The logistics make no sense. There's no reason why he would do it that way.
I still think you send a Piper Cub seaplane, not an official Chinese army submarine. I mean, you get some guy like lands and he gets in the airplane. Away he goes back to China. Why would you send a submarine of all? I mean, the submarine's got to be like a couple $100,000 an hour. You know, why would you spend all that money to get doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to go Occam's razor. I think he really was just caught in a rip, whether deliberately or not. Maybe he was suicidal and he's like, oh, here's my chance. I'll swim into the undercurrent and get whisked away. But whether on purpose or not, I think it is as simple as he got caught in a rip, dragged out to the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and they couldn't find his body because by the time they got to where he was, he'd already gone under the water.
If I was going to end it all, I would not pick an option that was going to be particularly long or stressful.
No.
Like, I wouldn't jump out of an airplane to commit suicide or off the side of a building because I'm going to be watching my death coming, you know, like that for 5 minutes while I'm falling, you know, or struggling against a wave, drowning. That's torture. Why would you do that? Just gun, bang, boom, done.
Well, I think most people, if they're truly at the point of contemplating suicide, aren't really thinking that clearly.
Yeah.
So they're like, if I jump off a building, I'll die. They don't think about the time spent falling and how horrible that's going to be. They just think,
and changing their mind. Halfway down, they're like, well, maybe I should have done this.
But
no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Too late, dude.
Yeah, but like, I think if you're at the point where suicide is a legitimate thought that you're having, you're probably not thinking that clearly. You're not going to be like, oh, but I can't do it that way because the fall time is like going to be traumatic. It's like, no, I'm just jumping off the tallest building I can fucking find. I got to end this.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know.
A lot of times.
Good, Jen.
Well, a lot of times when they're finding what looks like suicide, it does look like it could also be accidental. Yeah. Like when they find like so many people in car deaths, you know, like off the edge of a cliff into a ravine. Mm-hmm. I don't always want to just assume it was suicide. Like sometimes it could be like, you know, a dark thought doesn't take much, but I do think accidents happen.
Of course they do. Yeah, I think they happen far more than suicides would. Like,
I also do think people do hesitate when it comes to suicide. Like,
yeah,
it's just you put yourself in such a dangerous situation that, like, yeah, like coming down from a cliff can be kind of dangerous too.
yeah. No, I think the simplest explanation is probably the most likely. I find the nonsense about submarines taking him to China to be just ridiculous. I think whether willfully or accidentally, he got caught in a rip, dragged out to sea, and drowned. I don't think there's any more mystery to it than that.
Not to disregard actual suicides either. Like I said, it doesn't take much with a
people
dark
obviously
thought.
do commit suicide, but I would think that the number of accidental deaths is significantly higher than the number of suicides.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't checked the statistics, but it seems reasonable to think that more people die accidentally than, deliberately removing themselves from life.
If you've ever noticed how many of the cave dwelling or the cave guys on YouTube, the ones who like to do exploring, have actually gone missing from it. Like, they're,
of course, yeah.
So yeah, accidental deaths are no joke. Like,
no, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's far more accidental deaths than suicides. Like,
yeah,
like
way
the number
more.
of people who want to commit suicide, I'm thinking would have to be relatively small. Like a large number of people, but a small percentage of people. Like, there's so many people in the world that you're obviously going to get millions and millions and millions of suicides, but as a percentage of the population, I would think it should be relatively rare that someone is driven to suicide.
Well, and there's a lot more resources now than there ever been for people who are in trouble for them to get help, so.
Yeah. But just in general, like even without them, just if you're at the point where you're thinking about suicide, that's a sign something has gone very, very, very wrong. And I don't think that happens all that often. Like, it happens like to some people, but I don't think it's like super common. If you're at the point where you're legitimately considering death, like self-inflicted death, I think that's human being pushed far, far further than most people ever dream of enduring.
Yeah. Well, generally, suicide rates have been going down for a long time. They went up for a couple of years because of COVID. But we won't know for another 2 years whether they've gone back down or not.
No, it's funny that I brought up the cave guys, but like, they're not alone. Like, just the social media deaths alone, like, they're not really competing yet, but they're close to it. Like, when you the amount of people who are so keen to get that stupid shot who end up dying from or getting eaten or some stupid shit.
But I wouldn't even call that an accidental death. I'd call that medical malpractice. If they're dying from the vax, then that's medical malpractice, because they shouldn't have been given it to begin with.
We probably want to avoid talking about all this kind of stuff anyway, because whenever we get into this topic about that stuff, we end up getting a strike.
That's not what I was saying, though. Like,
I know, but YouTube doesn't care. If you mention it, we're in trouble. So
I wasn't talking about COVID. I was talking about like social media. Well, yeah, because Terry brought it up, but I wasn't talking about it at all.
We want to probably avoid it in all cases. I mean, we've gotten hit twice because of it, and both times it's been on my channel, so I'm a little more sensitive to it than most people are. I just want to avoid it as much as we can.
Which I don't mind talking. Because I wasn't talking about it.
I know. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that I don't have any problems talking about people who want to self-delete or something like that.
Oh, that's
a terrible thing.
Yeah. I'm supposed to say that. I'm supposed to say self-delete or something.
Yeah, I'm not really too worried about people suiciding or self-deleting, whatever YouTube wants us to call it. I'm not really worried about that, but I'm a little bit scared of getting the channel in trouble just mentioning the word. So I'm gonna try to avoid it, but
yes. So that's my bad. I shouldn't.
Yeah. So it looks like the Eurythmics have it tonight.
Oh, it does.
Thorn in My Side. And you guys, do you both know the song, or do neither of you know it, or it's not a big hit from them?
Yeah. I know the Eurythmics, like I know the band, but I don't know this particular song.
Do you know any of the music they do? Or is it just that you know the name?
Oh, I mean, I know Sweet Dreams. I know.
There you go.
I know the. I don't know if it was Annie Lennox on solo, or if it was the Eurythmics, but "Would I Lie to You" is another one I know of theirs.
Yeah, that's the Eurythmics too. Do you know any of their songs, Jen?
Not off the top of my head, but like I like if you play the song, I do remember more than just like the top three.
They're an American band, right?
No, they're
Oh,
British.
they're
They're
British,
English.
really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I do know that it's only 2 people though.
Yeah, Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know about them. I know most of their songs, but
Here we go. Eurythmics were a British pop duo formed in 1980s, consisting of Scottish vocalist Annie Lennox and English musician and producer Dave Stewart.
Okay, well, I was half right. Sorry. Sorry, Scotland. Sorry, Scotland.
I was pretty sure that Annie Lennox wasn't English.
yeah, I know the songs that you mentioned. I know "Thorn in My Side." Obviously, I have it. "Missionary Man" is another one that I know of. There's they have maybe 6 or 7 songs that I know.
Yeah, I only know the 2 that I named. I might recognize more if I heard the songs, but I probably wouldn't recognize the titles.
Well, they're probably bigger here and in Europe than they were in Australia or Canada too. That's probably the reason why you don't know them as well.
No,
Yeah.
it's not that. It's more of just they don't really play a lot of the older pop. Like if you listen to like older stations, yeah, I know more Annie Lennox songs. I just I'm bad with remembering the names because she's kind of typical for that era in that like I liked a lot of her songs, but a lot of her songs sound similar to me.
Oh, well, she has a unique voice. That's true.
Yeah.
The people who have a unique singing voice.
Here Comes the Rain Again. That's the other.
There's one. Song. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that with her. Like I like her songs. It's just like the songs do kind of blend in terms of, so I just forget the names. But like the most popular ones, I obviously remember because they're top 40s, top 20, top 40s.
Here Comes the Rain Again.
I also like she would do duets with oh god, I can't remember David. Can't remember his last name. He died. Guy with
David
the
Bowie?
eyebrows. Yeah, I liked their duets sometimes because they were. Yeah, I was more of a David Bowie fan. I'll be real. I miss him.
That was a little bit out of, I don't know why, but Bowie was a little bit out of my.
He's old for me. He is.
Yeah, he's older for me. It was more my brother's kind of music. Bowie did. He's 7 years
I
older
blame the
than I.
Labyrinth. I blame the Labyrinth.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Labyrinth is what I first found David Bowie through, and like I don't mind his music, but I wouldn't seek it out. Like I was never like a huge fan or anything.
I just thought he was cool, like his eyebrows. Like everyone points out his penis because they're funny and they're perverted, but I just thought he had the coolest eyebrows, and because like
I don't think that's perverted. I think that's interesting for women. So.
But I think when people talk about David Bowie's eyes, it's usually that they're different colors. They don't usually talk about his eyebrows. It's usually, hey, he's got one green eye, one blue eye.
His eyes were notable in Labyrinth, though. He had very demonic, Spock type of eyebrows. So
that was like natural to David Bowie. His different colored eyes. He just had different colored eyes. They weren't
Heterochromia?
Yeah, that wasn't like a movie effect. He's just born that way.
Yeah. He had China Girl, Fashion, Let's Dance, Golden Years, Modern Love, Changes. He had a lot of hits. He also did a duet with Queen, Under Pressure, right?
Oh yeah, Under Pressure is a great song.
Yeah. Yeah, more my brother's style of music. Like I said, my brother's 7 years older than me. So this is more his time than it was my time. The only thing that ever really copied over from him to me was ELO. I fell in love with ELO. They're still my favorite band to this day. So
you must like the corner whenever Gunsky sings. It's a living thing.
I like ELO so much that I like the Traveling Wilburys just because Jeff Lynne was in it. The lead singer from the ELO was also in the Traveling Wilburys. He's the fourth guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So I don't know if I would have liked their music if he wasn't in it, but he's got that unique voice.
I only know 2 songs by the Traveling Wilburys, but I like them both.
Handle with Care is one everyone knows, right?
Yeah, and End of the Line.
Right. They didn't last very long.
No.
I mean, if you have 4 uber talented musicians, all with different perspectives, how easy is it going to be for that to maintain?
Well, also Roy Orbison died. That
Yeah,
kind of
that's
threw
true
a
too,
wrench in
but
the works.
they could have stayed together with 3. But the point being is that you have to deal with all that ego and
Right.
people who have.
I think there were 5, weren't there? Not 4. There was what's his face?
Petty was one. Tom Petty.
Tom Petty. There was
Roy Orbison, Jeff Lynne,
George
the
Harrison, and
Beatle,
Bob
yeah,
Dylan.
George Harrison. Who was the 5th?
Bob Dylan.
Oh, that's right. Bob Dylan was in it. That's right. You're right. So there's 5. They could have stayed together with 4, but you're dealing with 4 big successful egos. That's tough to keep that together, you know? If you're the leader of a band, if you're Mick Jagger, then everyone else is part of your it's part of your band. But when you have 5 people who run their own bands, now you're dealing with 5 leaders. What happens when you get 5 leaders in a room, you know?
Yeah. It's like Bon Jovi said, there's a reason the band is named after me. And like to highlight, like, he is the one in charge of the band. Everyone else is second to him because it's his band. But yeah, if you've got like 5 big name, like all-star, like not just big names, like all-star musicians in the same band, that's going to lead to conflict.
Well,
we have to good.
Well, that was kind of what was nice about seeing the odd duo between like a hard band and like the orchestras. Like some of those just work so nicely because like you have to give a little bit when it's control, you know?
Yeah.
But the turnout was amazing. You know, like the Metallica, or my favorite was Heart because I'm a pretty good fan for Heart. But the orchestra
we used to play their music. We used to play Heart music when I was in a band. We were a cover band. We used to play Who Do You Run To in our band. So that's one of the songs that we used to play. So I'm a big Heart fan too. I always liked the Wilson sisters. I thought they were very, very talented young ladies.
That all you want to do is make love to chat? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I guess before we get out of here, we should probably talk about Taylor Swift because there's something that bothers me that nobody is saying.
Okay.
There's a lot of defense of her with Kelsey and the Super Bowl and the Eras Tour, and there's a lot of talk and that kind of stuff. But I see a lot of people defending her about her talent. She's a great songwriter and a lot of stuff. But I know she's writing pop music. How tough? You know, it's not tough. It's not like she's, Pavarotti or somebody just uber talented like that. But the point being is that when I look at her and where she is and what she's doing, my anti-feminist hackles get up in the air because you have a woman 34 years old, who is on stage in provocative gear in front of 13-year-old girls, who's making music for 13-year-old girls. Now, what happens if instead of Taylor Swift, it was Travis Swift? What would people think of a 34-year-old man writing music for 13-year-old girls wearing provocative gear on stage? Would you be so quick to defend him? Right. But because she's a girl, she gets a pass. And no one is saying this anywhere on Twitter or anything.
I've been saying on Buck Angel's chat that a lot of the problem is that we're not willing to go after the female predators.
That's true.
People they don't even see this. It's not that they see it and they like, well, yeah, but she's a superstar and they give her a pass. They don't even notice it. And it's screaming at me every time I see her on stage. And actually people like Lauren Chen and stuff like that think that her relationship with Travis Kelce is a good thing because she sees them settling down, getting married, having babies, and becoming a more conservative group. And that she thinks that will have a positive impact on the 13-year-old girls that she sings to. And I can see that, but it doesn't stop me from where she is right now. Still bothers me.
Fair enough. And Green Badger wants to know what instrument you play. I'm hoping it's like the cowbell.
I was a keyboard player until I shattered both my wrists. and
Shouldn't
ended my
have done
career.
That
No.
was a poor decision.
Hey, you know, you have to choose whether you want to ride a motorcycle or not ride a motorcycle. If you ride a motorcycle, you're good chance that you're going to get killed. Have you seen that Twitter video of the people who rear-end that white car?
No.
Have you seen that? There's a white car stopped on a highway. People are zooming by at 70 miles an hour in the lane next to them. Guy in a motorcycle whips around, not knowing that the car was there, whips around at 70 miles with a passenger on the back of the motorcycle and rear ends the car. The person who had stopped the car, I guess, had a flat or something like that, and had the back door open.
I have seen
trunk
this.
door.
Now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah. Did you spend some time looking at that video?
A little bit. I saw like the guy crashing into the door and like going flying. But
Yeah. The guy says, "Did you notice anything special about this?" And nobody really said anything. But he slowed the video down. The passenger goes over the top of the driver, of course. The driver hits the back and just smacks in it and falls. The passenger flips over, and as he passes over top of the car, he is head down, feet up, because he's going to tumble, right?
yeah.
His head catches back door,
Ooh.
and he's decapitated. What flies past the car and lands 30 feet in front of the car is just the body. The head is still inside the back door.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch that bit. I wasn't watching nearly close enough, but
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
I've been in plenty of accidents. I know motorcycles are dangerous, man. They are dangerous.
Yes, they are.
And it cost me a potential career in music.
I
I got a concussion. I broke my sternum. I broke both my whatchamacallit, both my wrists. I broke 4 ribs. Dislocated my pelvis. I was fucked up.
I don't think I want a motorcycle. It's fine. I never wanted one before, but I reaffirm my lack of desire.
Well, to tell you where I'm at, out of my patio is a motorcycle.
Of course.
It didn't stop me.
No. If you actually love something, then you're not going to stop just because you get into an accident.
Yeah. But I've been in a couple. That was the worst one. I rear-ended a box van. It was stupid. I was young. It was a stupid thing to do, but
no, I don't even have a driver's license for a car, much less a motorcycle. So I'm not in any danger of changing my mind.
How did we get on this subject? I did that. How did I get on this?
You talked about shattering your wrists because that's why you stopped playing the keyboard, which was because Green Badger asked what instrument you played.
Yeah. So I have music from the band. Matter of fact, I had it one night. I had you guys vote, and you didn't vote on it because no one knows the name of the song. But
yeah,
let me see if I can find. I could play a little bit. It was very much. This is years and years and years ago, and it was recorded in my living room. So it sounds like shit. Please don't get all crazy with me. Yeah. Of course, the music is in my pictures folder. So give me a second here. The band was called Skye, Skye. I'll play a little bit. You might have heard this before because I used to play it on the show at the end of the show. This is just a little bit of it. This is my living room, so production value is not that great.
Well, no, I wouldn't expect it to be.
Very garage band, very we don't know what the fuck we're doing music, that kind of thing. So
I don't mind it. I'm not going to rush out and buy an album, but
there is no album. I'm the only one who has any copies of the music at all. Most of the band is dead already.
My point, I'm just saying to explain where I am. I was like, if I heard that song on the radio, I wouldn't change the station. But
you wouldn't? Thank you, because most people would.
I mean, it wasn't objectionable. It was amateurish.
Generic.
Sure,
It's very generic.
it is.
Very
But
milquetoast.
I wouldn't change the channel, change the radio station. But I wouldn't be like, oh man, I need to hear more.
Hear this band. Who's this new band? They're amazing.
I wouldn't be rushing out to the record shop to see if I could buy the CD.
That's like 30-year-old music.
I like music that's a lot older than that.
Yeah, so that's back in the Benatar eras after all. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't know what we were doing. Just a couple of kids just getting into college.
I mean, that's most garage bands.
We were just trying to get laid. That's all that was all about.
That's the usual motive for starting a band.
It was. We weren't terrible, but nothing to write home about.
I mean,
so.
Like I said, you're fine. Like it's look, you used the right word. It is generic.
It's very generic. Believe me, there's no ego in that. We knew we were generic at the time. We were like, do you think we can get a gig this weekend? Probably not. We didn't play very often. We played for a long time. We were together a year, but we didn't play very much because nobody would book us. We weren't that good.
Most bands that form don't do so with the expectation of like becoming megastars. It's just like it's fun to play music with your friends, and it usually doesn't go much beyond that.
Yeah, it worked though. I got a girlfriend out of it. So
yeah, and 2 broken wrists.
And 2 broken wrists. I really didn't have too much to do with it, but all right. Well, we are past. It's 11 past, so let's go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to play the rhythmics, and we can all
right,
worry about all that stuff another time. Don't really like talking about myself. Thanks, fam, as always, for chatting with us tonight, dating us tonight. You're dating us tonight. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember the Minions are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Host and start times are linked down below. Also, Kefki is now a host of the Minions. That's right. Every Sunday night, 10:30. Make sure you stop by and give her a love, because we all love Kefki. Don't forget about the Rumble pre-show as well. That stream will start generally around a half an hour before YouTube. We will be back next Wednesday, of course, at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Say good night, Jen. Good night, Jen.